Hi guys, welcome back to the second part of what this channel is about. So when last we spoke, I was having a mind melt over the Google trees, and we picked up from there with the mad scramble to find the needle in the haystack, hunting for the mantis and what I found. Well, to tell you the honest truth, it was quite an ordeal to find out what I needed to know. It's very disappointing that most of the stuff that is on the internet and on YouTube is not true. It's actually a farce, to be honest with you, and no wonder nobody takes it seriously. I went in to look for certain things and found that there are people that state that there are three color mantis. You get the black and the white and the blue or something like that. It's ridiculous. What they fail to see is that mantis come in every shape, color, size, and everything imaginable. That is the mere fact. I've seen so many things, and it really disappoints me and angers me to a degree that people are posting things about channeling mantis. And I'm not saying it's all BS. I'm not saying it's all BS. There are some really good sites out there that I will definitely recommend. But the majority of it, what a load of BS. I don't even know how this stuff is. It upsets me because this is the kind of thing that takes the seriousness out of what's actually happening around us away from, the urgency of it. People making up crazy stories about their encounters with mantis, which I'm sorry to say it is total BS. Absolute BS. But there are, as I said, some sites that I have found that were worthwhile and actually did come to the party. So I'm going to get into that. Okay, so one of the most interesting people, which I would definitely recommend reading about, is Jacqueline Smith. Her paper I actually found on Google. It's about 13 pages long, I think. There are some really interesting things in this paper, and it had definitely given me some closure on questions that I had. For instance, she does mention the fact that mantis are known for their grids, their interdimensional grid systems. They are also the holders of every single DNA known to us and everywhere else. They hold the DNA structures to most living things, or all living things, as far as she says, which I actually can believe. She also mentions the fact that their size is, it does depend. It can go from astronomical to a block to a bigger than a block. She's absolutely right there too. What I did find super interesting about her paper was the fact that she mentions that some of these mantis have a sort of gem, or a stone that is on a necklace, and it is known to exude beautiful, brilliant light, which I found incredibly interesting because I have a few photos of exactly what she's talking about, and it baffled me because I found them in Peru. You can find them pretty much everywhere in the world, these funny little splotches of color that just pop up out of nowhere. Green, blue, orange, you name it. But you can definitely see that they were odd to me, and finding her paper and this whole gem story put the whole theory together for me. So yeah, I'll let you see a couple of those interesting photographs that I've taken, and that's why I found her paper the most interesting and the most true, in a lot of aspects, because she mentions things that I've seen, and it's not known to every person, I can tell you that much. So I would definitely give her a look out and read this paper for sure. I would definitely endorse this paper. Okay, so getting back to Jacqueline Smith's paper, she was mentioning these necklaces that were of brilliant color, and I had actually been seeing these specific color blots popping up. Peru has quite a few. They come in every different color, just like she says. And when I saw this, I was questioning, well, what are these big kind of green and purple and red and beautiful blue, orange dots popping up everywhere, and it was puzzling for a long time until I actually read her paper and it made sense to me. Also, these are of obviously the Peru Nazca lines, etc. Yeah, there's some interesting things about these Nazca lines. I can tell you what, they're not airports. No, they're not. But as I said, the mantas are pretty much the grid layers of all universes, or multiverses, or ultraverses, or whatever, as Jacqueline says. And if you take a really good look at the Nazca lines, these are grid systems. These are really cool grid systems. Um, but yeah, I've got a couple of photographs that I've actually got into depth with, and try to outline as best I can to let you guys see what's actually behind the Nazca lines. It's really cool, actually. But yeah, these are just a few photographs of these little colored dots that pop up. So if you do see one on your Google searches, just zoom in as much as you can, and guaranteed it'll probably end up being attached to some sort of mantis being. That is what I found. So once again, I am endorsing Jacqueline's paper. It's probably the only one that makes sense. Also, I have noticed that a lot of these mantis do have sort of armorage as such, to look like lions, birds, pretty much all the ancient gods with heads and such. Yeah, I pretty much know where they come from, or where the idea came from, and they're pretty accurate. It's not, they're not depicting a crocodile head god to depict a crocodile as such, whatever. No, this dude had a crocodile head, and I'll get into that with the next picture. So when I say I had to go in a totally different direction back in time, I literally had to do that. My unexpected journey back to the beginning. That's so many love to, yeah, ponder on. But yeah, the Bible and the stories of the angels popped into my mind immediately because of the three heads that they have, and the animals that they depicted. Ancient Sumeria also was also their animal gods as well. Egypt, we all know, the Incas, Aztecs, and Mayans. I'm going to tell you now, these guys were onto something. Sorry, they're depictal of Quetzalcoatl and the other gods as well. Are pretty much spot on as to what I'm seeing. These guys had it waxed. They're strange headdresses. I know where it comes from, put it that way. So these guys definitely had some sort of interaction. In fact, all of the ancients had some sort of interaction with the gods. And no, gods were not depicted with heads to represent anything. They literally had heads like animals, because that's the way they were wanting to portray themselves, bottom line. So I went back in history trying to find out exactly where mantas play a part in any kind of thing whatsoever. And, there are ancient myths and legends. There are Hopi talking about their ant people, that kind of thing. And there are sort of petroglyphs or hieroglyphs of some sort of mantid type being. But what struck me the most is that all these civilizations of our past all seem to have very similar gods depicted in very similar ways, which I found very interesting. And because they're pretty much arse end of the world from each other, and everybody was like, no, they didn't have any sort of interaction, which I think is a lot of BS as well. But these guys all had some sort of privy to the old gods, for sure. And what the gods portrayed themselves to be was exactly the way that they were represented. It was not a representation of a crocodile being the god of whatever. It was a crocodile head. That's the mojos of it, because I've seen it. I can understand where it comes from. And I mean, mantas are expert holographic and projections and mind manipulation. These guys are experts. So if they wanted, and I always thought as well, let's be honest, the Sumerian gods look very robotic, and they just don't look right to me. I'm sorry, that does not look like a normal kind of, the way they've been depicted. But a lot of things stood out to me, a lot of things about the gods. And I'll just have a couple of photographs in a row for you to have a look at, and they are all from these different civilizations, and they all look very similar. So after going into a lot of ancient studies and studies of gods, zodiacs, and the ancient gods, I don't know what happened, but I think somewhere along the line, my dyslexic brain starts to index itself, which totally freaks me out because what the hell? And when I say this, I started working things out in my head, which for me is a challenge because we don't work the same way as you guys do. Our filofaxes are, yeah, let's just leave it there. So when I started doing things in my head that ordinarily I know for my dyslexic brain should not be capable for me to do, i.e., the fact that I have seen photographs that have triggered certain things in my mind, and it's reshuffled itself and actually pulled out these little index files that I didn't even know I had. But things like this are starting to happen to me, which is really freaky because my brain doesn't work like this. I don't know what to do with the information that has been given. But along with this, let me just give you a couple of ideas that the few photographs that are going to follow up now are going to be things that I've seen. For instance, I have seen, like I've said, beings with some sort of head device on it, get up to some pipes and whatever. It's whack. I do understand it's completely insane for you to listen to. But yeah, there was something called the Black Mother Teresa or the Mother Mary or something like that. That kind of also sank. And when I saw the photograph of her, the first thing I thought was the Black Mantis, which are supposedly hybrid. They are completely black, so that was interesting for me as well. And yeah, there've been a few other interesting old photographs in history. I think there's going to be one coming up of a gentleman standing next to some sort of robotic humanoid type thing, which also triggered something. So the following photographs that I've actually found are things that have triggered memories of things and that have pieced them together, that I've kind of linked them to what I'm seeing, put it that way. And this is the closest representation I can actually get to what I'm seeing because, like I said, it's hella difficult to try and let you guys see what I'm seeing with the naked eye. But yeah, as I said, the next few photographs are trigger photographs that triggered a few things that my dyslexic brain did not expect. And yeah, take a look at it, and obviously when you see the rest of the photographs in the video, it'll make more sense to you as well. Okay, so when the penny drops, it actually drops. And as I said before, what I did find was that these animals of our past, or the animal gods, all represented the same sort of beings. So what I've done here is taken a lot of photographs from the different myths, legends, religions, everything, all the different gods, and put them into a little amalgamation for you guys to take another look at before you see some of the photographs that I've actually sorted for you guys. So just a reminder as to what you guys are going to be looking at. It's all the different gods that have been depicted through time and history in myths, legends, folklore, even the Bible, of what beings have been seeing in our history. And they all tally up to looking pretty much the same, which was when my penny dropped. So it made a lot more sense about the things that I was seeing. And yeah, so I'm hoping that the next few photographs that I've taken, and I will be honest with you, some of them I've taken from a couple of 100 years ago, which I've actually dissected and pronounced for you. And some of them are the Google Earths that I've been taking as well. I do hope you enjoy. Some of them are pretty difficult, and it does take a lot of work and detail to try and outline these things and get them to represent remotely what I'm seeing with my naked eye, and it is incredibly difficult. So I do hope that the following photographs will be a little bit of an eye-opener. Okay, so the next few photographs are going to follow are obviously of some Google Earth and some of the old photographs that I've managed to catch hold of in history as such. Um, some of them are pretty distinct to see, some of them not so. So I've done my best to try and accentuate what I can to let you guys see this. What I've found is that, yes, absolutely, the saying that everything is connected, kudos to that, we absolutely are connected. A being is made up of a being is made up of a being is made up of a being, and so are we. We look nothing like this. We're not smooth and glossied over at all. We look much like what I'm depicting in my photographs, which is really strange. And also, sometimes people say, oh, this is like an apparition, or it's a strange being with a deformed face. Oh, you know what? We aren't so pretty. We are really not so pretty. If we actually knew what we looked like, this world would be a less ego-filled world. For sure. Hands down. I mean, when I took a really good gander at myself, it was not pretty. And that's why it's so fun, because I see all these women and I see them, the way they really look, and I think, lady, you would have an aneurysm if you knew what you really looked like. But yeah, it's very strange to see. I don't know how to express it, but living with being able to see what I'm able to see is actually quite interesting. Makes life a lot more interesting, because what used to, you know, interest me before, I have no interest for at all. Um, so yeah, these photographs that I have done, and let me just tell you that I lost 2,800 photographs somehow. My phone decided to do a bit of a dirty on me, and I've lost all those photographs that I was preparing for a really good video. So what I've managed to salvage, I'm going to show you guys now, and hopefully I'll be able to collect a little bit more and make it a decent video for you guys and not make it so hash like this one. But yeah, I had to get this video out before I end up deleting everything else as well, and I don't know how that happened. I really don't. But yeah, the following photographs are some of the things that I have seen, and just to remind you guys about everything is connected. These things do touch, whether they're good or evil. There is some sort of connection between them. And as far as as above, so below goes, there's a few videos, well, a few photographs that will make you rethink exactly what that means, because I am under the impression that as above, so below means as we create above on our earth, they need to duplicate below. So have a look for yourself. Thank you so kindly for taking the time to watch this video.